Ole milendarar bue med dendra lagne bue Kovol dans tarpazagadare en halon arguir carante Dal 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 dal
Welcome back, horror fans, cinephiles, and Giallo enthusiasts. This is Tanner Leeser, your host for all things Giallo and Giallo adjacent here on TheKingInGiallo, and it is time for another series of unscripted talking head movie reviews. So I purchased this from Vinegar Syndrome, and I made a little poll on my Instagram and asked if you would like me to cover this, and it was overwhelmingly yes, like 90% yes. There was basically one person who said no, just carry on. But anyways, that is this, Ténèbres Françaises. So this is French Darkness, and this one popped up on my when I was searching on Vinegar Syndrome as it's not necessarily Giallo, because I know there's a lot of sticklers out there who are like, if it's not Italian, it's not Giallo. Fair enough, but for the people who are a little bit more liberal with their definition, I would include this. Now, I'm not saying yes, these are Giallo films. But if you are open to movies that are fringe, that are Giallo adjacent, absolutely you should watch these. Well, I can't say all of them. I've only watched the first one as of now, which I will be talking about. Yeah, and I will be doing a product review for this as well, covering it. It is 2 discs. There are 4 movies. I've only seen the first one, which I will not bother with the French pronunciation, but in English, the title translates to Who? And then I think it's also called The Sensuous Assassin, I believe. But I guess since these are French movies, I should don a more French look. Here we go, okay.
Bonjour, messieurs. Je veux un honnête? Ça suffit maintenant pour moi. Alors, je n'ai dit qu'à l'heure.
So this first movie I watched, Who? It is very short. It is about an hour and 18 minutes. The IMDb plot summary of this is Marina and her boyfriend have an argument while on a trip in France. They are in Brittany. While driving with the car among the cliffs, by the way, I think whoever wrote this is English, it doesn't seem to be their first language. While driving with the car among the cliffs, he starts speeding and the car falls into the sea. Marina can jump out of the car, but her boyfriend seems to be drowned. She gets to know his brother and he falls in love with her. But why does she always feel watched? What reasons are behind her strange behavior anyway? Did she really murder her boyfriend? But is he dead anyway? That's fair enough. I will go right through this movie. The movie was fairly short and I had no problem paying attention with this one. Yeah, so I will be giving spoilers for this movie. I will let you know what my thought process was throughout this movie. This crash happens in Brittany, which is northern France. Again, I hope I'm saying that correctly at least. One of my favorite vocalists is a Breton. Anyways, so it starts and it's just like these guys, this man and woman kind of like meet each other while walking out of a hotel, walking towards the car. And they're just like, it's essentially like, I hate you, you're ugly, fuck you, you suck in bed. The guy starts beating the woman and then they're like fighting and she goes to pull out a gun and he wrestles it from her and gunshot goes off. And he throws the gun down. And this is something I noticed upon like rewatching some moments. I was like, okay, odd. But yeah, he throws the gun like on the ground, gets in the car, they drive off, and he starts just like careening all over the place, and then he's driving the opposite lane, playing chicken with an oncoming lorry or truck. It's like, okay, man, I get it. Like, things could be better, but he's clearly trying to terrorize his girlfriend. And eventually he just drives off a cliff. Because, you know, that if nothing else is getting to her, that'll do the trick. And there is a bunch of uncertainty surrounding this event. So it almost seems like we are seeing this from her perspective in terms of how she would be relaying this story to the police. That's something I kind of felt like, because we don't really see exactly how it happened, what was leading up, the moments beat by beat before the car goes off. We just see the car go off. And she managed to get out of the car beforehand, and she watches the car hit the water, sink. So as an audience member, you're sitting there going, okay, well, did he just act erratically the whole time and drive off, or did she kill him? We know there was a gun, although, like I said, pretty sure he threw that on the ground, because I even went back and was like, wait a minute. But anyways, the police are there, they're diving, they can't pull a body, so it also seems like, okay, well, maybe he's not dead. And especially if you've seen enough Giallo films, something like this, it seems like, okay, well, he's probably not dead. He's probably got out, he probably survived, he probably swam away, something. But they're like, well, it is a convertible, sir, so the body probably wasn't fully strapped in, it probably got out and washed away, and hopefully it washes ashore eventually. The brother walks up. So the girl's name is Marina. The boyfriend's brother shows up. His name is Serge. And he introduces himself and asks what happened, and she's like, I don't know. And then the cop even comes back and he's like, how fast were you going? She's like, I don't know. He says, were the tires like worn out? She's like, I don't know. Very convenient, kind of not answering, not giving any answers, but it also is very believable. And I will say that is something that was really good about this movie, was the characters were very well acted and very well written. I'll elaborate on that a little bit more, but I will say initially this movie reminded me of, in terms of Giallo films, it reminded me of a little bit of Orgasmo, in terms of you are following a woman in the aftermath of becoming like a widow. And in that movie, you know, there's a little bit more to it than what she said, and I kind of felt a strong similarity with that. And I would say that this movie, in general, its entirety, it feels like an Umberto Lenzi proto Giallo from like the 1960s, like the 1960s proto Giallo films he did with Carol Baker. This really feels like one of those, and that is a compliment. So again, this is a mystery in terms of like, is the brother really dead? Did she kill him? He goes to drop her off, and she feels like there's someone there, and so she runs out and she's like, please let me stay with you, and he agrees. She stays at his place, and she doesn't want to be she feels like someone's watching her when she's sleeping, so she needs to be closer with him. He's like, it's fine. And then you meet his ex-wife, who like drops in for some reason. Long story short, it's basically, you know, that there is an ex-wife. And when Serge comes back, his ex-wife had tidied things up, and he doesn't like that. But he's like, oh, she was here. And Marina's like, oh, well, she invited us to this little party she's having with some clients because she expects they're going to be very boring. In this scene, the main takeaway we get is, well, Serge and Marina are getting a little closer. There is also a little bit of like a love-hate, flirty, remnant of a relationship with his ex-wife. But something happens, there's like a slight little like physical bump or whatever, and Marina drops like an ammo clip to a pistol, and he asks her about it, and she's very deflective. She doesn't answer any questions. And this is an ongoing thing throughout this movie, where he'll ask her questions, and she'll either give simple answers or say like, I don't want to say anything, or let's not talk about that, or whatever. And he asks, did you kill my brother? She's like, no. Why do you keep asking me? And he reveals that, well, my brother was an asshole. No woman could stay with him for more than like 2 weeks. Like, they always broke up with him. Like, he was a piece of shit. And so I'm assuming he probably was a piece of shit to you. And she's like, yeah, he was really hard to get along with. And so while this constant questioning, the movie does a really good job of, she's likable. She does seem like she's hiding something, but she doesn't come off as super like conniving, like she absolutely did something. And so I'm really struggling with how much of this is the movie wanting the audience to think it's her, just so they can reveal in the end, no, she actually was innocent, versus, God, she is really charming. And again, it's not so overdone in a way that makes me think like that's gonna be what the reveal is. I actually really was struggling with this. And then the guy himself, Serge, he's very likable. Like, within 30 minutes or so, he drives her back to Brittany, and they go to the cliffs where his brother had careened over and drowned, supposedly. And he gets scuba gear, and he goes down, and Marina is like, why are you doing this? Why? Come on, just don't go. What are you doing? So that's suspicious. And then she even goes to grab the police, be like, oh, he went down 40 minutes ago. While he's under there, he does find a gun. He does find a pistol, and the pistol does match the ammo slide, the ammo clip. So it's a match in terms of that. Doesn't necessarily mean that is her gun, but again, I'm pretty sure I saw him throw the gun on the ground, but maybe I really just did not catch that, or did not see that correctly. But he brings this back up, and then they stay at the hotel where we saw her and I think the guy's name was Claude, where her and Claude were like leaving at the very opening shot of the movie, them leaving this hotel. So he's like, we're going to go back to the hotel where you guys stayed. And they go to the exact same room. The woman at the register doesn't really recognize Marina. They go up and he just keeps asking more and more questions. Oh, and by the way, they've already slept together. That became a whole thing. So he continues to ask her questions. He keeps asking the same questions, and he reveals the gun and the ammo clip, and it's a match, and did you shoot him? And she keeps either saying no or just avoiding the answer. And he mentions, well, there was a bullet missing. And she said, well, I shot a bullet off outside the hotel because we got into like a scuffle. And he goes down, wakes up the concierge, and he asks her, he makes up a story, but he basically asks like, oh, the girl I'm with, she was here like a week ago or a couple weeks ago. Did you recognize her? She says, no, I don't. She goes, oh, well, she wanted me to come down and apologize for you because when she was leaving last time, she shot at like a bird, and she probably disturbed a bunch of people. And the woman's like, I didn't hear anything. And it's like, huh, okay, because that definitely happened. And he goes back up and he tells her what was said. Marina's like, well, I mean, the gun's not that big. It probably wasn't that loud, and it is really windy up here. It's like, okay, fine. He keeps pressing the question, and eventually they have sex again. And then it's funny because there's something that it feels like there are missing clips from this movie. I don't know. I guess while I have the IMDb page up, I should look into that. But it is an hour and 18, like I said. Let's see. No, that is an hour 18. That is the running time of this movie. But it certainly felt like, yeah, there was a little something off because just in terms of the editing. All of a sudden, it's like them about to have sex, and then it's them kind of having sex, and then really quickly cuts to them or her just in bed. Gets up, she goes to the door. She sees someone's eye looking through the peephole. She hurries to get the door open, and it's already a shadow going away as the movie goes along. So by the way, at this point we're now like 39 minutes in, and there's like 39 minutes left. So at about 40 minutes there is this really good in the hotel before they have the sex scene, or it's not even a sex scene to be honest, but he's having this like interrogation with her. And this is where I really thought, okay, this is a really well done movie in terms of, it's a very simple story. It kind of reminded me of a play because it was so focused on the characters and the dialogue. Now, don't hear this and think, oh my God, this is like, Jean-Luc Godard. It's not that level of French cinema, but it's still, in terms of like comparing this to a Giallo, it was pretty well written and it was pretty well acted. Like I said, both of these characters just did a great job of both being likable, and I decided, okay, I'm at that point. Every Giallo movie gets to a point where you need to, what I would say, dig in. It's like, okay, it's far enough, you need to just dig in right now and decide what you think it is. Sometimes as the movie gets a little closer to the ending, it's like, okay, well, that person who I thought it was got killed off. Okay, so let me try again before it gets too close. I mean, if you decide who you think it is, like the scene right before, like, someone's walking up to a room and you're like, I think it's gonna be the boyfriend, and then she opens the door and it is the boyfriend. You're like, okay, but you guessed that like 20 seconds before it was revealed. So there's a certain point where you should probably dig in, and I decided, okay, I got to dig in right here. And I said, what do I think happened? And I'm like, okay, she had to have done something. And I'm thinking this because it feels like the movie is kind of pushing that, but it's not making her seem so suspicious. And then like a minute later, I decided, no. I don't think the brother is dead. And I'm thinking, okay, what if the woman was manipulating Claude, the guy who supposedly drowned, and he did drive off the cliff. Maybe she was manipulating him horribly, some way, shape, or form. And he did this, and he survived, and he somehow contacted his brother and got his brother on board to come into the picture and basically sort of drive Marina insane, thinking, that she's possibly murdered this man, and they'll play this trick on her to make her go crazy. That's a very 1960s Giallo thing. That's a very Umberto Lenzi kind of thing. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's what's going on. And I started thinking, okay, so I mean, I don't think the brother is dead. I do think that Serge might be involved in them playing a trick on Marina. maybe, but he is also very likable, and I don't know if I really want to like fully put my chips in with that, but I'm like, okay, I think there's gonna be some clever reveal, so maybe that. So she leaves the hotel and she meets with, I think her name was Dorothée, who was the ex-wife. Dorothée is like, why don't you stay with me for a little bit? I understand you guys are kind of having problems, like, oh, he just keeps questioning me, he keeps asking me. And so she's like, well, why don't you stay with me? That'll drive him crazy. And I bring this up because there was a contradiction. I think there's a couple contradictions in this movie. Dorothée says, so you say your hook's on the elder after getting rid of the younger one. Okay, so Serge, the guy she's with now, is the older one. Okay, just remember that. But anyways, she agrees to stay with Dorothée. Yet there's this whole thing about like, hey, what's it like making love to two brothers? They start talking about Claude, and Dorothée is like, no, he was fine. Like, I never saw any problems with him. And so it's kind of like, okay, maybe he wasn't as bad as what Serge is saying and what we saw. Anyways, so Marina goes to stay at Dorothy's, and already Serge just starts drinking, and he starts getting really drunk and belligerent. He starts like throwing eggs off the balcony at pedestrians. Eventually, he shows up at Dorothy's place, and he's like, I need to speak with Marina alone. And he starts to question her, and there's this really cute scene where he forgets what he's gonna say. Like, you know, he came in here like, I got something to say to you, bitch. And he forgets what he was going to say. And this is what really did it for me. And this is like 50 minutes in. This is what really nailed it for me in terms of like, these characters are so likable, like, and they have really good chemistry. And that's why and then I'm at this point where I'm like, I really like both of them. I don't know if either of them is really like the one who's committing wrongdoings, who's committing evil right now. I don't know. They're both just too likable. But I've had some good Giallo films pull the wool over my eyes before, so I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get led astray with that. He thinks he has the evidence to prove that she killed him, but he can't say it to the police because he loves her. She's like, wait, what did you say? And she's like, wait, did you say you love me? I love you. But eventually he goes, I don't remember if Serge goes on a trip, but he flies up to Brittany. They've found a body washed ashore, and they're like, no, we can't really run fingerprints and everything, but it's about the same size as your brother, same age, the hair color. It seems to be a match. He's been in the water for about the same duration of time. And Serge is like, was there a bullet hole? And they're like, bullet hole? No. What do you mean? He's like, whatever. And then they ask him, do you think you can identify the body? We don't see the body, but it goes on. Then we cut to Marina at this, what looks like a mall. And suddenly she sees Claude, and he starts following her. And she's having flashbacks to the crash, and she starts trying to run away, and he keeps showing up. He's pulling some Michael Myers type shit. She'll see him, turn around, run away. All of a sudden he'll pop up in the next room. So it almost feels like, okay, maybe this isn't him. Maybe this is her like having a breakdown. But she escapes the mall area, comes home, Serge is home, Claude's in there. And he starts like talking with her, and he basically says, I survived. It is revealed he did drive off the cliff. She didn't shoot him. She didn't do anything. He drove off the cliff. She did roll out of the car, as she has been saying. He crashed the car because it was a convertible. He was able to get out, he says. He said he came to the water surface. He saw her looking over the cliff. Obviously, she didn't see him. And he decided, you know what? I'm going to fuck with her. And so he says he went back underwater and he found like a cove. And he like went in there and hid out, which I thought, why didn't you just swim up the coastline and just escape? You could have just swimmed like 200 meters up here, gotten on, and just like ran on foot. But that's his plan. So he did that. He decides that he is going to basically make her even more miserable, because she does hate him after all. So his grand plan is, I'm going to go to Canada, live there. You guys will never see me again. And because they would have never found my body, it will always be assumed that you must have killed me. And my brother, knowing my brother, he will always be suspicious of you. He will always think it was you had something to do with it. And then he says, he has a line, something about like my younger brother. Like, I know my younger brother. And it's like, wait a minute, I thought you were the younger brother. So there is that whole discrepancy where it's like, I thought we established earlier that Serge was the older brother, and now Claude is saying that he's the older brother. I don't know. It's not totally important, but a little bit. kind of you would think. But anyways, that's his plan. You know, then they start mocking each other again, and he gets violent. She runs away, and then he's magically in the other room again. They're just fighting again, like we saw them in the beginning. And she's like trying to grab something, grabs a knife, stabs him. Now he's supposedly dead again, and now he actually is dead. This is like the final minutes of the movie. She's trying to she washes the blood off of the knife. She puts the knife away. She drags the body out. Meanwhile, Serge is on his way home. She drags the body into the like back little courtyard area, and she digs a grave. Granted, it is about 6 inches deep. But she digs just enough to kind of slip the body in and just cover it in like, you know, an inch of dirt. And then she throws leaves on top. And it's just like, this is so ludicrous. Like that body is either going to get discovered or an animal's going to dig it up or something. It's like that's not going to work. But whatever, she follows through with it. And then she rips her clothes off, gets naked, throws her bloody clothes in the fireplace, sets them on fire. And then he shows up. Serge shows up and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And he's like, why are you in the dark? And she's basically going hysterical at this point. She goes, I killed him. And he goes, no, honey, you're kind of losing your mind a little bit. I know you didn't kill him. And he tells her, I just identified his body and there was no gunshot and he really did drown. Like I know you think you're seeing people or whatever, like it's all just, you don't have to feel guilty, you had nothing to do with it, and I believe you now. And so now it's like, oh well, shit, well then yes, we can live happily ever after. Anyway, so then in the final minutes of this movie, we see them like happily ever after. You know, they're out on vacation, they're out at dinner, and then it cuts back to the little courtyard, and it's raining heavily, and we're seeing the body getting exposed. And I'm thinking, there's like 2 minutes left in this movie. How are they going to end this? I really hope there's something, and it's not just, you know, left to our imagination. But you know, we see them out and they're on a boat, and it's just so happy. Look at them. And then as they're coming into the shore, we see the police waiting for them. They know what's going on and they're ready to arrest one of them, presumably her. Then the movie ends there. So sorry I didn't warn you about when the spoilers were coming, but regardless, there be spoilers. But yeah, so let me wrap this up. I really enjoyed this movie. This is the first of 4 other movies, but this was who to me. Again, I won't say, oh yeah, this is a Giallo film. I would say it is, if I wanted to be generous, I would say, yeah, it's like a French Giallo film. There are Spanish Giallo films after all. Who's to say this isn't a French one? It is 1970 though, so it's either right before or right after Bird with the Crystal Plumage. But like I said, this movie really does feel like a 1960s Umberto Lenzi proto-Giallo film. Really does. I enjoyed it, and I am eager to watch the other movies. I know that Klaus Kinski is in one. I know that Jean-Louis Trintignant is in one. I don't know if they're in the same one, but I'm looking forward to that because those are some great actors. And yeah, I didn't know what to expect about this one, but like I said, I just really enjoyed it. So yeah, I will let you know how the other ones are. Anyways, yeah. That's all I got to say. So let me know what your thoughts are, questions, comments, curiosities, concerns. Have you seen this movie? Have you purchased this French Darkness box set? Are you curious to? If you are a Giallo collector, I would say that, I mean, maybe, again, it's all up to you. Don't let my opinion dissuade you, but also don't necessarily go, well, Tanner liked it, let me buy it, and then you buy it and you go, fuck you, I didn't like those movies at all. But I would say if you are a completionist already and you're basically buying any Giallo that Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow and these other distributors release, I would say go for it. I would honestly say, I mean, again, still gotta watch the other ones, but so far it's damn good. But yeah, if you've seen it, let me know what your thoughts are. Beyond that, I don't think I've got anything else to say. Anyways, yeah, this is Tanner Leeser for The King in Giallo, and if nothing else, I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.